What's up, Bills Mafia? You already know this team is chasing greatness every single day. From practice to preseason, every rep matters. Buffalo is locked in on one goal: keep improving, keep perfecting, and keep stacking wins until we're lifting that Lombardi. Before we jump into today's news, do me a quick favor. If you're fired up about this season, smash that like button right now. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a single update on your Buffalo Bills. All right, let's get into it, because today we've got a story that's got everyone buzzing. The backup quarterback battle behind Josh Allen, plus a potential blockbuster move that could change the entire shape of this offense before Week 1. So here's where things stand. The Bills are set to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the third and final preseason game. Normally, the last preseason game is about final auditions, about bubble players fighting for those last few spots. And yes, that's part of the story, but this year, there's one roster battle drawing a surprising amount of attention: the backup quarterback role. Now, let's be honest. When you have Josh Allen, one of the most dangerous players in all of football, the last thing you want to think about is who's QB2. But as we all know, depth matters. We've seen it across the league. Seasons can swing in an instant. And right now, Buffalo's staff has a decision to make. The contenders? Mitch Trubisky and Mike White. Through 2 preseason games, neither has pulled away. Trubisky, the former second overall pick, has experience and knows how to manage a game. Mike White, meanwhile, has shown flashes during his time with the Jets and Dolphins, proving he can step in when called upon. Saturday against Tampa Bay will be the final audition. Offensive coordinator Joe Brady has already said it. The competition is going down to the wire, and it's going to take care of itself after this game. Translation: the pressure is on. Expect each guy to get about a half of football to prove he deserves to be the one holding the clipboard behind Josh Allen. Will Trubisky's experience win out, or will White's upside tip the scales? That's the million-dollar question, and the coaching staff wants a clear answer before final roster cuts. Now, some fans might shrug and say, who cares? As long as Josh is healthy, it doesn't matter. But here's the truth, Bills fans. Backup quarterbacks can make or break a season. Look around the league last year. Teams like the Jets, the Bengals, even the Vikings. When QB1 went down, everything changed. Having a reliable QB2 isn't just insurance, it's survival. And with the Bills chasing a Super Bowl, they can't afford to gamble at such a crucial position. That's why this Trubisky versus White battle is worth paying attention to. This isn't just about who looks better in practice. This is about who can steady the ship if disaster strikes. This is about trust. Now, let's zoom out, because while the QB2 competition is fascinating, it's just one part of the bigger story. The Buffalo Bills are standing at the doorstep of history. Playoff appearances? That's expected now. Dominating the regular season? We've done it. But the one thing missing, the one thing fans have been craving for decades, is that Super Bowl breakthrough. And here's the reality. Consistency is great, but consistency doesn't equal championships. The AFC is loaded. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, CJ Stroud and the Houstons. Every single one of those teams is gearing up for a title run. So what does Buffalo need to do? Maximize every ounce of this roster while Josh Allen is in his prime. And that brings us to the buzz around one Bills drive right now, a possible last-minute trade before Week 1. Yes, the Bills have already made big moves this offseason, landing Joey Bosa and Joshua Palmer from the Chargers. But there's still one glaring question mark: wide receiver. Keon Coleman is coming along, Khalil Shakir has flashed, Palmer adds depth, Curtis Samuel can be a chess piece. But is this group enough to hang with the best in the AFC when the lights are brightest? That's where the conversation shifts to a blockbuster name: Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders. McLaurin, entering the final year of his contract, has requested a trade. He's been nothing short of elite since entering the league, over 1,000 yards in 4 of his first 5 seasons, all while catching passes from a carousel of quarterbacks in Washington. Now imagine pairing him with Josh Allen. Allen's rocket arm, McLaurin's route running and toughness. Defenses would have no answer. Suddenly, you're talking about a receiving core that forces defenses to pick their poison. Double McLaurin and risk leaving Dalton Kincaid or James Cook wide open? or focus on stopping the run and get burned over the top. That's the kind of weapon that doesn't just improve your offense, it changes the entire way defenses prepare for you. Of course, nothing comes free. Washington isn't just going to hand over their best receiver. The asking price? Likely a first-round pick, maybe more. That's a steep cost. But think about it, Mafia. How long is Buffalo's Super Bowl window truly open? Draft picks are about the future, championships are about the now. And if McLaurin is the missing piece that finally gets Buffalo over the hump, can you really put a price tag on that? Financially, it's not as scary as it sounds. Either, Washington has already covered much of his 2025 salary, making him a very manageable one-year rental. If it works out perfectly, the Bills could even try to extend him long-term. This isn't just about adding another wideout. This is about making a statement to the league. Buffalo is all in. Now, Bills fans, I know this one stings a bit too. Samuel came into Buffalo last season with expectations of being that versatile, speedy option who could stretch defenses, create mismatches, and give Josh Allen another weapon in his arsenal. But when we look at the numbers, 31 catches, 253 yards, and just a single touchdown, it's clear he never became the difference maker the team hoped for. Injuries and inconsistency slowed him down, and this preseason hasn't exactly helped his case. According to multiple reports, Samuel is on the bubble, and not just as a cut candidate, there's growing speculation that he could actually be traded. Ryan Talbot noted that several receiver-needy teams are monitoring the situation, and the Bills might look to move Samuel rather than release him outright. After all, if they can free up cap space and maybe grab a late-round draft pick in return, that's a win-win scenario. And let's be real here, there's a market for receivers right now. The Jets are sniffing around for help. The Vikings and 49ers are reportedly in the mix as well. If Brandon Beane can spin Samuel into an asset instead of a dead roster spot, it could be one of those under-the-radar moves that ends up paying off big later in the season. But here's the twist. Despite all the trade chatter, Samuel hasn't exactly disappeared. In fact, over the last week, we've seen him finally ramp things up on the field. He's been moving better, participating in 7-on-7 and even full 11-on-11 reps. After practice, Samuel himself said he felt amazing and was thrilled to be competing again.
Josh Allen even chimed in with some praise, saying Samuel brings energy, quickness, and playmaking ability when he's healthy. And head coach Sean McDermott echoed that, noting how refreshed Samuel looked after missing extended time earlier in camp. So on one hand, you've got positive signs. On the other hand, the business side of football might still push him out of Buffalo. And that's the hard truth of this league. Sometimes it's not about talent, it's about timing, contracts, and roster balance. Now let's shift to the second surprising cut candidate, defensive back Darrick Forrest. When the Bills picked him up, it felt like a sneaky depth move. Forrest, coming from Washington, brought toughness and physicality to the table. His old coach Dan Quinn even praised him as one of the hardest-hitting safeties he's ever coached. That kind of endorsement had fans thinking Forrest could make some noise in Buffalo. But here we are in the late preseason, and Forrest hasn't been able to crack the top of the depth chart. Right now, he's stuck with the third team behind guys like Taylor Rapp, Cole Bishop, Damar Hamlin, Jordan Hancock, and Cam Lewis. That's a crowded safety room, and unless Forrest makes a dramatic jump in the final practices, he's looking like the odd man out. The likely outcome? If cut, Forrest could sign elsewhere, maybe even right away. But the Bills could also look to stash him on the practice squad as a depth option. It's a tough break for a guy with his physical style of play, but the NFL is ruthless when it comes to numbers. So, what does all this mean for the bigger picture? It means the Bills are making bold choices. They're not afraid to shake things up if it means improving the roster. Cutting or trading a name like Curtis Samuel sends a message. Production matters more than reputation. And moving on from Forrest, despite his toughness, shows that competition is fierce and the Bills aren't holding spots for anyone who doesn't earn it. Fans should also take this as a reminder that the roster we see today may not be the roster we see in Week 1. Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are constantly evaluating, constantly looking for ways to improve. Whether it's through trades, late free agent pickups, or unexpected roster moves, this front office has shown it won't hesitate to act if it helps the team win. And let's be honest, that Bears game put pressure on everyone. When you perform that poorly in the preseason, jobs are on the line. The coaching staff is sending a clear signal: no one is safe, and every snap matters. So, here's where we stand. Josh Allen sits out the preseason finale, staying fresh for Week 1. Trubisky and White battle it out for the QB2 spot. And Brandon Beane works the phones, with a potential blockbuster on the horizon. It's all setting the stage for what could be the most important season in Buffalo Bills history. So, Mafia, I'll throw it to you. Who do you want as Josh Allen's backup, Mitch Trubisky or Mike White? And second, would you pull the trigger on a trade for Terry McLaurin even if it costs a first-round pick? Is it time for Buffalo to go all in and chase that Super Bowl with everything we've got? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them all. And once again, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. This season is going to be a wild ride, and we're going to cover every step of the journey together. As always, go Bills!